Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Sights on Sinnoh. My name is William,
And Manny?
and Manny is back with us to talk about episode 8 and 9 of the Diamond and Pearl anime. Again, this series is all about getting ready for Sinnoh as the remakes are set to come out this year. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl seem to be a fun time ahead. We don't know much about them yet, but we're excited to see what Sinnoh has to offer on the Switch. And if you are interested in watching these episodes with us, you can again go to Pokemon.com and watch Pokemon TV for those episodes.
Will you be picking up any of these games, Will?
Oh, yes, I will probably go with Diamond since Diamond is the first Sinnoh game that I got, followed by Platinum.
That's
What about
nice.
you?
I'm kind of leaning more towards Legends Arceus.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I might buy one of the remakes, just not anytime soon. But eventually, yeah, because we gotta fill up that the home Pokédex to get that Magirna.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up getting both, and Arceus might not come out for at least another year, so I think to satisfy my appetite, I'll get that update, or I'll get the remake. I mean,
I mean, I'm really looking forward to Arceus. I know people were complaining about the artwork, but I guess they couldn't read that it was alpha footage. People just, I guess, are too stubborn to read little
maybe.
disclaimers. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The concept looks very interesting. I mean, it gives me another chance to choose Raleigh as a starter, so I'm good
I
with that.
haven't chosen Rowlet as a starter yet, though I might because I just got Pokemon Sun, and
Oh, that's cool.
I need to get through that for the first time because I've only played through Ultra Sun, but
Mhm.
to get the Magirna, at least to get a second Magirna, I will be playing through that again, which although it'll be fine, I guess. I've done it once. I'll just kind of speed run through this.
You've done the Olive Armor, right? The Diglett ending thing.
I
Yeah.
well, I
So
haven't finished that. I think like 100 of them.
okay, there's point, I guess, depending on which starter you choose. They give you the Alolan starters. So because I didn't know that, I picked Sobble. And once they told me you got Popplio, I kind of regretted not getting Grookey. I wanted to get that Rowlet.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool to just go through Sinnoh in some way using newer Pokemon, which I mean, I kind of hope that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl let me do, but if they're going to be super faithful and not let anything in that's not from that region, like they did with Let's Go, maybe that's where the appeal of Legends of Arceus is.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely on everyone's eye. See if some Pokemon will be allowed, or is it just going to be the pure Sinnoh decks? I think people are worried about HMs coming back because of the word faithful.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, no,
Yeah.
Pokemon fans, they want something,
Well,
they complain that they get it.
right. But this episode 8 of Diamond and Pearl, is called Gymbaliar, and it's actually about a gym, suspiciously enough. So I'm going to read a quick blurb about it just to recap people on it. There's a new gym in Sinnoh, and Team Rocket is in charge, with Jessie as Princess Power Zone, the gym leader, and James as a crooked referee. There should be no way they can lose to their latest challenger. Yet somehow they do. After the battle, Meowth goes out to get snacks and comes back with an ominous Croagunk on its tail. Croagunk isn't impressed by Team Rocket, but they're impressed by Croagunk's Poison Jab move, so they recruit the Pokemon to help them out. So this was an interesting episode in terms of its opening, where you're
Yeah,
just in the
definitely.
middle of a battle. You just Team Rocket's there, and they're all in these really poorly fashionable choices in terms of disguises.
Yeah, but I kind of like that. Jessie's disguise was a nod to her Viper.
That's true.
That
Yeah.
was really cool because they're the villains, but they love their Pokemon just as much as any of the other trainers.
Yeah, I saw Jesse's dress and was thinking for a second about the Battle Pike Queen, Lucy, because she has a vague Viper theme going on that's more subtle than this. But for some reason, that immediately came to mind for me. Lucy is from the Battle Frontier and Emerald, so she's not super present. But I guess I just had that on the mind when I saw her disguise.
It was in the anime, right?
Yeah, and yes, Lucy has been in the anime.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I remember her.
Only for like one episode. But she starts off with Dustox against a Marowak,
Yes.
and they lose, and the trainer claims the fake badge and runs off, and they're like, well, we keep losing and we're out of
Yeah.
badges.
Oh, you got to come up with a better strategy, Jesse.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe she's won once or twice, but the way they seem to treat it is that she hasn't won at all since they started this
Yeah.
scheme.
You know, during the beginning, I actually thought she was gonna win it. 'Cause it
Mm.
looked like she was actually holding her own against the trainer.
Yeah, it was like not a complete wipe on her part.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, well, I mean, this trainer's probably not as good compared to their battles against Ash, or maybe they're
Mm.
getting used to Ash's style, so it's helping them develop more. But yeah, I was kind of rooting for her at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think the thing is they have to have won some because we see later on that they have all these Pokeballs from challengers. So
Yeah.
she's had some victories, probably maybe using like Viper or something else, or maybe she cheated. Though it seems like they were actually battling fairly, like they weren't using some hidden item or something. Like I've seen her Dustox use in Hoenn actually for at
Hmm.
least a Pokemon contest. But
Yeah.
then Meowth goes to the store to get some snacks, and there's just a Croagunk outside the store, which is already kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
He's just chilling there.
Yeah, that Croagunk, I don't think is a Croagunk I'd want to mess with.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what he's thinking. He's not really expressive.
Yeah.
He's just inflating his cheeks, letting them deflate. But he follows Meowth all the way back, and he's just bored, is apparently the issue that he's having.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I think, and I'm glad they kind of brought that up because I was confused as to why it decided to follow me out in the first place. We see
Yeah,
that, yeah, it's just hanging out outside the shop, I guess, trying to look cool or trying to figure out, what am I gonna do today? I just stay here and
because Meowth thought he was gonna get mugged. He was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"It's coming
Meowth
for
was
my
scared.
food."
Meowth was scared for his life, and this right off the bat, I think it clicked in my head. It's like, oh, this is probably Brock's Croagunk.
Mm.
And I was excited because Croagunk is one of the Pokemon that I like, and I mained it in Pokémon tournament because it's a really good
Cool.
fighter. I was definitely excited because I don't remember how Brock and Croagunk met, how he caught Croagunk as well. I just remember him already having it from brief episodes that I saw. This was really exciting to see if this was that Croagunk or if it was just a Croagunk that helped out Team Rocket, and just to see what the process was for him and Brock.
Right, because I also didn't remember where his Kroga came from. It just seemed really random, and this is proven to be like that. That it was a kind of a random coincidence how they met. And we have seen at this point at least two wild Bunearys that isn't the Buneary that one
Yeah,
of the
not
characters
the
ends
same.
up catching.
Yeah, it's just Don is infatuated with Buneary.
Right. And here, Team Rocket recruits this Croagunk to just battle for them because apparently it likes battling, and it's won a few matches for them as far as they can tell. But the whole scheme that they're pulling off here is with this fake gym saying that if you lose, you can leave your Pokemon to train with the gym leader, and we'll return the Pokemon back to you in like a day. So, with Krogan's help, they're able to start doing this until our team of heroes, Ash, Dawn, and Brock, show up, along with a trainer called Minnie, who is also trying to get a gym battle, but she is the one who actually told Ash and crew about this new gym that popped out of nowhere. She's like, oh yeah, there's this gym that's coming out called like Power Zone Gym or something. Yeah, Power Zone Gym. And she thinks it'd be good for her scissor if she loses to get some training there. So that's why everyone's like, all right, yeah, let's go check out this new gym because they just want their first gym badge.
Yeah, this is our introduction to Minnie, who in the anime shares the same name, but it's pronounced Minnie, Mine in the sub. We get to know her first by being introduced to her Scizor, which is another Pokemon that I like. This is a good. I mean, this was a good episode. You know, Croagunk and Scizor, and again another one that I used in Pokken because it's a very good fighter in Pokken as well.
Scizor assist or is it a fighter?
Scizor, yeah, you can use Scizor as a fighter in Pokken tournament.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I have it, but I forgot the fighter roster.
yeah, and you know, we see Brock doing his usual shtick, but I thought it was funny how she completely ignored him, just ignored him and spoke straight to Ash and Dawn, and then they're like, you know, let's go, and you know, Brock is just still there, just rejected. Yeah, that was
It's
pretty
perfect.
funny.
It's a good foreshadowing it's a good foreshadowing of Brock's future days after this episode. But what ends up happening once they're at the gym is that Minnie battles Jesse, who's in the sky still, and I think like through some bad referee calls by James, which are on purpose, Minnie ends up losing technically and leaves her scissor there. And like they can already tell something's up because Don's like,
Yeah,
this doesn't seem right. Is this right?
yeah, yeah.
So good.
I thought that this was in terms of Team Rocket. I thought this was a really cool visual of what they do because the minute they see them, James is like, oh well, you know, they always fall for our disguises, so it's not like they're gonna know it's us. And I thought that was like a really cool breaking of the fourth wall. And when we go on to later what happens, and Brock is all like, oh, it's them. How do they do that? I thought that was a really good joke that they put it during that episode where they realize it's them, and then during what ends up happening later. I thought that was a pretty funny joke. Them acknowledging that, you know, these kids, we fooled them so many times. They pretty much don't know it's us when you can see Jesse's long hair and James's blue hair, but for some reason they just don't know it's them.
Just it's just the trick of the light or something happening in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then Ash wants to battle using his Apom, but they say that you need to battle her using Pikachu, which is just a foil for them to grab Pikachu as it's out in the battle, and then reveal that their gym building is actually a hangar for their Meowth balloon somehow. Like the camera cuts to the outside of the building where the gym just kind of opens up from the top, and the balloon is inflating and pushing the walls to the side because they're just like cardboard walls. But we don't really see where the carriage part of the balloon is, though it supposedly would be right under the field, or like right where the battle field is located. So I don't know how that works, but uh they
The magic of cartoons, I guess.
yeah, basically, and they put Pikachu in the net.
Yeah,
with-
they did bring their balloon out of a boat in the first episode.
That's true. Yeah, somehow. And then they reveal that they're Team Rocket, of course, and Pikachu's captured in this net, and they're taken off as always. So the crew starts chasing them, and Ash sends out Starlight to start attacking the balloon, and Brock is leaving the gym but sees Croagunk just chilling there, and he makes like a weird
Mhm.
face.
Yeah.
Because apparently he's also a little perturbed by this Croagunk that's just chilling there.
Yeah. I will say, something that I liked about the sub during the gym battle was Jessie would speak in English to keep her disguise, which I thought was really
Oh,
cool. Yeah, she was like playing to her character, and she had a catchphrase every time she would win. She would be, "I'm a winner," and it was really cool because she would celebrate, and during like she'd be talking Japanese, but she during some of her sentences she would blurt out like English phrases, which I thought was cool. 'Cause, it just shows like how into character she was,
oh,
and
that's
I
funny.
don't know.
So it was all part of
Yeah,
her cover.
yeah, I don't know what they could have done in the dub to help that out so that it wouldn't be as obvious. I feel like
Yeah,
if you
maybe like
know,
give her
yeah,
an accent or something.
I feel like they should at least recognize their voices by now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sometimes
so
they do try to change it, but it's not very consistent.
yeah, I feel like they could have done something to help her also stay in character of Princess Power Zone.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was something that I kind of liked in the dub because I think most of her like English phrases were very funny and they were like just made me love that character she was in.
Yeah, it was surprisingly detailed for the amount of story that we got from this. Like, I thought
Yeah.
there was
Oh,
gonna be a lot more of this.
can we talk about James defending the bottle caps when
Oh
when
my
he
god, yeah, that
presented
was
it
great.
as the gym badge and the kids were like, these just look like regular bottle caps to me.
Yeah, because they run out of gym badges and they don't have time to make new ones, so James actually crafts one out of some bottle caps, and it looks like a weird little triangle thing, and people are
Yeah.
like, "That's is that real?" And
Yeah.
he's very upset that people don't think it's real, which is a great way to defend your fake gym badge.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what their fake gym badges looked like
Yeah,
because
they
they said
never
they had.
show it.
Yeah, they said they had ran out, right? So
Because you see one of the challengers who wins run up to the podium, grab something and leave, but you never
yeah,
actually see the design. And I would love to see what that looks like.
yeah, that probably would have been cool. It would be funny to see if Meowth crafted them or not to see like his
Mhm.
little handiwork. But the fact that they run out, I guess, goes to show that Jessie definitely lost more than she won.
And there's like, I don't know, 20 or something Pokeballs that you see in the Meowth balloon when they take off.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming most of those came in like the last 2 to 3 hours of her using Croagunk before from the time that she gets Croagunk to fight with her to
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
moment that their cover gets blown.
Wouldn't that mean that Krogan would have had to had lose because James had to craft one since they ran out?
Right. Well, they ran out of badges before
Oh,
Croagunk
you're right.
showed
You're
up.
right. Yeah, yeah. They must have been on a winning streak and completely forgot
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they ran out.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay.
assuming. So that's how
Yeah,
they got
that
all
makes
these
sense.
Pokeballs, and that's how they
Yes.
avoided the problem of the gym badges being gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, Starly is taking down the balloon after a few quick attacks. It's able to pop the balloon, get them to crash, and I can't remember. Like, they basically just get all the balls back. Like, they send Team Rocket blasting off, and now they're left with a weird dilemma that I assume the police would just help them with, which is just, hey, how do we return all these Pokeballs to their trainers?
Hmm.
Because they have no way of contacting them. There's like no list or record that Team Rocket kept where they can just say, "Oh, this belongs to this person, this belongs to that person." And the only way that they know these trainers will come back is because Team Rocket told them that they should come back within like a day or so. So,
Yeah.
really awkward moment, actually.
Yeah. And I at the beginning in both the dub and sub, I don't know how I missed that they said they were gonna just train them for the entire day. And because I missed that, I was like, why are these kids
Oh,
abandoning all of their Pokemon? Like, what's going on? Like, I know you want yeah. I was like, I know they want them to become strong, but like they're really just giving them
Just
away
left
so
them,
easily. Yeah.
like
And
daycare, but
then
bad.
yeah, and then thanks to Minnie who said, oh, they're gonna come back. I'll just wait here. I was like, oh, okay. 'Cause
Okay.
even I was surprised. Like, why are you giving up your scissor? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a important detail for sure. But Minnie's excuse is or reasoning is that she isn't ready to take down the Orberg gym after her experience with this fake gym. So she's just gonna hold off on that and might as well help people get their Pokemon back.
How do you feel about that? Because to me that was kind of like you beat a Croagunk. What do you mean you're not ready?
Yeah, like she took out Croagunk with 2 turns basically.
Yeah,
The only reason it wasn't called as a victory was because James was cheating to make sure Jesse won. So
yeah,
I don't see where she's coming from with that.
yeah. That was kind of a disconnect. Because I was like,
Mm.
your scissor's pretty good. I don't know why you felt you're not ready.
I was going to ask you also if there was any difference with that in the sub.
No, everything was pretty much surprisingly everything was pretty much the same word for word. There's sometimes where the dubs will kind of switch phrases just to fit the mouthing, um,
Got it.
or
Okay.
just to make like small jokes. Because in the if we go back to the first episode when Dawn goes into the restaurant, I forgot what she says in the dub, but the cook asks her like, "Oh, aren't you gonna want your breakfast?"
Oh, that's
Whereas,
funny.
yeah, oh, that was in the dub. Whereas in the sub, she goes, "I'd like a Pokemon, please," and the cook goes, "Pokemon, coming right up." And when they show him, he goes, "Wait, Pokemon?"
Oh,
So
really?
so they didn't they switched that, I guess, to make joke more funnier for kids.
Gotcha.
So yeah, at times they'll switch the phrasing. Like another interesting one was when before Dawn left, was talking to her mom. Her mom told her, coordinators started off as trainers. Oh no, she says, become a coordinator, you need to become a trainer and a breeder. Remember that
Oh,
part?
no.
Oh, in the first episode, yeah, she tells her that before she leaves. She tells her like, "Oh, in order for you to become a coordinator, you need to be a trainer and a breeder first."
That was in the sub?
No, in the dub. And when she's after like her little fantasy about which starter she wants to choose, her mom tells her that like, "Oh, in order for you to become a coordinator, you gotta be a trainer and a breeder first." I thought that was interesting. I was like, I wonder what they might do with that. But in the sub, she tells her she goes through and she goes, breeders, coordinators, and she said a third one that I can't remember, but she says all three of those started off as trainers. She didn't
Interesting.
tell her, yeah, she didn't tell her you need to be a trainer and a breeder. She said no. In order, she didn't say you need to be a trainer and a breeder. She said, if you look at breeders, if you look at coordinators, I can't remember what the third one was, but she said all of those they started off as trainers. So that's why it's important for you to start off as a trainer. Yeah, so sometimes they'll just move things around just so that it fits the mouthing of the characters, which is, I mean, I give my hats off to whoever has to do that because it must not be like an easy task to do.
Totally. Yeah. And speaking of mouthing, we have Croagunk just shown here with its mouth expressionless, but
Yeah,
comes up to Brock and Brock just kind of says, "Oh, do you want to join me?"
yeah,
And he nods. So this is the funniest part for me. Brock pulls out a Pokeball from his vest, which is a completely flat
Mhm.
material over his shirt. So I don't know how he has a Pokeball in there, but he just takes it out and has Croagunk like get captured in it. And he's like, "Oh, cool! I caught Croagunk."
yeah.
And then he
That's
goes back to harassing Minnie. But as he's about to do more, or like as he's about to talk more to her, Croagunk comes out of the Pokeball, and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And that's when he gets his first poison jab, and Croagunk just drags him away, which is perfect.
I like how Croagunk does the poison jab. It looks like it kind of turns its arm upside down, or like it spins it, and it delivers it. I think that's like a pretty cool what'd you call it?
Depiction.
Like a really cool, detail, I guess, depiction, yeah. But again, this was just a disconnect for me. Like I didn't. How did you feel about that sequence? Like them just staring at each other before he catches it.
I don't know why Croagunk likes Brock.
Yeah,
Or if he does, but there is an episode later where it's revealed that it's kind of weird, but technically it shows that they have a strong bond, but I don't understand why. It's very odd.
Yeah, like their two interactions kind of left me scratching my head. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, the
I
first
thought
one was like Brock staring at him, or Brock staring at the Croagunk, and being a little freaked out, and then running away. And the second one isn't much more informative.
Yeah, like I thought that after this episode, Croagunk was just gonna follow them on their journey before warming up to Brock.
That would have been better, I think.
So it kind of took me off guard that they have like that awkward pause, like just staring at each other, and I'm like sitting there like, what's going on? And then I don't know, it's like, hey, do you want to come with me? And
was that
like,
the same context that the sub provided?
Yeah. I was like, I wonder how they'll do it. And the exact same thing. The only thing is they put that bond building music in the background. It kind of helped out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also in regards to episode 2, when you and Brady were talking about that awkwardness of Brock when he meets Ash, in the sub it's even worse.
Oh no.
Like it's
okay.
completely. I had no idea. Even reading the subtitles, I had no idea what was going on. Like the dub made it easier to understand.
Okay.
The situation, and I think what I like about the dub is there's always background music playing.
Mm.
In the sub, it was just Brock and Ash talking, but the conversation felt so awkward. Like you can feel Ash's awkwardness.
Got it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's going on. This feels weird, and it felt like it took forever. Like that part, I think that's just how awkward it was.
As far as I understand Croagunk's purpose, it's kind of like a weird team member, like that isn't good or isn't like bad, but it just kind of makes everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that aspect about Croagunk. It's just like, just imagine if there was like a Croagunk just staring at you with his cheeks puffing. It probably would just be spaced out. You wouldn't be able to tell just because of the way it looks. You probably feel just like me out, like, oh, I better step away from this Croagunk. Now I'm curious to know if the whole, because this started with Misty, right? Misty was the reason that Brock would get tugged from girls.
Yes. So that's
yeah. So I guess they just wanted another Misty and Max. They just decided to use Croagunk this time as like
right.
a fresh take on it.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. But the whole interaction between him and Brock kind of didn't do it for me. But I like Croagunk, man. From what I remember, Croagunk in battle was really good. I think that's why I liked it a lot.
Yes, he's kind of sage Pokemon that doesn't say much or do much, but is very powerful when needed.
Yeah, and I feel like that Croagunk would have been a good fit for Ash in terms of battling.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain if Ash had caught it because it would add a cool layer to his team in terms
Mhm.
of the mystery of his Pokemon, because otherwise none of his Pokemon have like a super great backstory, at least early on. So it would have been
Yeah.
nice to have that dynamic. But otherwise, Brock just needs a new Pokemon at this point. Like he only
Yeah.
has his Bonsly, and that's not going to be super helpful.
Yeah. And how do you feel about um just from what I can remember, because I haven't seen Black and White. So how do you feel about Ash being the only one that has a full party of Pokemon, whereas his companions have maybe like 3 or 2?
I always felt like it's weird when that happens
Yeah.
because, like, I think it's mostly done to spotlight Ash the most and also to not divide too much of the screen time among all these other party members if each person had 6 Pokemon also. But I would prefer to see more Pokemon join and see them make more.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, and I'll share more with that in the next episode, because the next
Yeah.
episode revolves around the capture.
Yes,
But
that's
yeah,
perfect. But before we do that, we want to give a rating to episode 8 of Diamond and Pearl, Gymbaliar, which is a combination of Jim and liar and a play on words
yeah.
on Jambalaya.
This is gonna be tough because I like that it was Team Rocket focused.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket as a group, they're very funny. They're very energetic. They're full of life. The disconnect kind of play a factor into it, but I do love that we got to see Scizor and Croagunk get major spotlight in this episode, and also being a fan of the anime, I did not know that Sandslash was known as the mouse Pokemon, so that was a bit of a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but probably probably just give it a 6. It was a good episode, but there was too much that kind of left me confused. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it I'll give it like a 6.5
That's fair.
because it does do something a little new with Croagunk, and it kind of I don't know if the payoff's gonna be there, but I do find it interesting to see this member just kind of join, but also be very confusing to everyone, which I think is kind of
Hmm.
funny. There's definitely
Yeah.
some humor in there. But yeah, there's a lot of little moments that don't necessarily mesh together to bring the story as a
Hmm.
whole.
Yeah.
But
And as a Croagunk fan, I'm very excited to see what Croagunk does. 'Cause I do remember it being a very good in battle, but my
yes,
memory is too far removed to remember every single episode. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of the takeaway from this, as you see him bored, so to keep himself from becoming bored, it battles, and that's why it joins Team Rocket for that case. But
Yeah.
well, this is a weird situation of Pokemon joining the party of our main
Yeah.
characters, but I think it's partially intentional
Okay.
because that's Krogan's personality. It's just very awkward, or at least makes the situation feel awkward because of its face and its kind of lack of expression. So I wonder if that's what they were going for with how they designed this episode, but it's not entirely clear. So that's why I don't give it anything higher than
Yeah, but
6.5.
you see, yeah, that awkwardness of Croagunk is why I feel like it would have been better for Ash.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause we know that Ash, you know, likes strays. His Pokemon have, their awkwardness as well. Other personalities like the Squirtle from the Squirtle Squad. You have the two Guardians, Bulbasaur and Turtwig. and
Mhm.
just because Brock didn't really do anything, and since Croagunk
Yeah, like if he
Croagunk
had
is a fighter, doesn't want to be bored, you would think he would have gone with Ash, who was a fighter.
right, I think that's the biggest point that you made right there. That Brock doesn't really do anything else this episode, so it's kind of random that Croker just joins him out of everyone.
Yeah, but really quick, if you could remind me, did Brock battle with Bonsley in the Battle Frontier?
No, I don't think we've seen Bonsly battle at all.
Okay, so then I'm probably remembering about Diamond and Pearl then.
No, I don't think so. Maybe later in this season, but
Yeah, it probably will be in.
this does give Brock a Pokemon that can battle because Bonsly is still kind of treated as a baby. Yeah, it's just a weird episode in terms of execution.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking forward to seeing Orf Krogan because we know of Brock's history as a gym leader. The times that I remember him battling, he's very smart in terms of how he chooses to battle.
Yes, I don't think
So
we
yeah.
really see Brock battle much in Battle Frontier or any of Hoenn, but there are definitely some moments where
Mhm.
Brock is on the battlefield and is pretty
Yeah,
successful.
but I think one of my favorite moments in Johto was when he got Crobat. I think that was such
Yeah.
a that was such a good spotlight as Brock as a trainer, but as a character. I just remember, dude, that epicness of what
Mhm.
causes Crobat to evolve, and I was like, man, Crobat is such a cool Pokemon. And I do remember him using Mudkip as well. So it'll be interesting to
Yes.
see what other if he has any other members, but just in terms him and Croagunk bonding as trainer and partner.
Yeah. And it looks like we have another trainer and Pokemon bonding coming up in this new episode
Yep.
called episode 9 of Diamond and Pearl, titled Setting the World on Its Buneary. The blurb goes, when Dawn wakes up to a bad hair day, there's only one solution. Have Piplup use Bubble Beam to fix her hair. Yep, it's just another typical morning on the road for our heroes, until Pikachu catches the eye of a wild Buneary. Dawn wants to catch it for the upcoming Pokemon contest, but it's too shy to stick around for long. And when Buneary comes back, both Ash and Dawn want to catch it, but Buneary's too slick for Piplup to handle. That means Ash and Pikachu get a chance. Now, this episode does kind of establish the correct pronunciation, which is more like Buneary, but I might just switch to the other one as I go through because it's a little easier to say.
Because it's bunny ear, Buneary.
Mm-hmm.
But disclaimer for those people that were wondering, this is not the same Buneary that Dawn encountered in the second episode.
That's my theory, my take on it. I think Greg recently mentioned in an episode that we did that it's not like super clear, but to me, I think it's clear because this Buneary is very much infatuated with Pikachu, and we saw that other Buneary in episode 2, and we've seen the Buneary in episode 4 where she's trying to catch one, but it runs away when she starts arguing with Ash. So I feel like that Buneary would have seen Pikachu that time and didn't, or apparently did not fall in love. So that's my assumption for why this is not the same one.
Yeah, and we've seen in the past, I can't remember with which Pokemon, but they do make it obvious if it's the same Pokemon. So if this was that same Buneary all the way back then, they would have hinted at it. I'm trying to remember who it was, but I think there was a Pokemon that followed Ash throughout some episodes, and they're like, "Oh, it's that one from way back then." Yeah,
Yeah.
Pokemon has definitely done that where they tell you, "Oh, this is that specific Buneary,"
Right.
but it's not that Buneary. if you can just go over the beginning of this episode and then we'll discuss, because um I thought it was very funny the beginning.
Yeah, I mean the whole setup is another look at Krogunk's character because Brock drops a potato that he's peeling and asks for Krogunk to toss it back to him, and Krogunk kind of passively aggressively kicks it back. Pikachu jumps in the air to catch it, which is where Buneary is peaked in terms of curiosity for Pikachu, and it's like, oh my gosh, this dreamy Pikachu just caught this potato out of the middle of the air.
Yeah.
Even though the whole thing is kind of weird because why did Pikachu rush to catch it? It was already on the floor. It was like in the dirt.
Yeah, I guess
So
Pikachu didn't want to let it go to waste.
apparently, but like it was already on the floor, man. Like it's not gonna matter if it falls to the floor again, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, it starts off with Dawn having a bad hair day, and then Piplup
Mhm.
uses Bubble Beam to like fix her hair, which is a thing apparently, I guess. Like I'm not sure the physics of that. I've never had to do my hair, so we may need some insight from someone who has that experience on there. But what happens is that Apom steals Ash's hat, as it does, because that's just something Apom is known for doing.
Yep.
And Pikachu chases after it using Quick Attack to steal the hat back.
Mhm.
But it accidentally goes too fast with the hat and lands in the middle of the road, which is more like a trail, honestly. Like I don't know what's this random trail doing here that's big enough for like a motorcycle at least.
Yeah.
Where Officer Jenny on their motorcycle is coming straight at Pikachu. So Buneary, seeing this, hops into the middle of the road, grabs Pikachu, and hops to the other side, just barely getting missed by Officer Jenny.
I thought it was funny how both Ash and Brock are in their sleeping bags while Dawn has a big tent all to herself. Showing her,
Yes,
yeah, it just shows her city girl side. It also makes me wonder, do they say that her mom was a champion or she just competed?
I think they do say that her mom was a winner of the grand contest, basically, because
Okay, so that would mean she probably had like celebrity status, right?
see, that's the part that's kind of ambiguous because the people who win are, I think we've seen two people win and they've both been adults, but she was like a girl who got it and it was also like over probably 10 years ago at this point.
Yes, you see that's kind of something I'm curious about because we know the first episode, and I think we see Dawn with that big trunk of clothes.
Mhm.
And in the second, she doesn't want to camp. She wants to go to the center and sleep on a bed. That would make me wonder if maybe after her mom becoming a champion, was invited to contest as maybe a judge or so, which led to Dawn knowing only sleeping in comfortable beds.
Oh, you mean like she got a job?
Yeah, no, more like kind of like championship status kind of made her a celebrity. So when there was more grand festivals, she was probably invited as a celebrity, I guess, to enjoy in the festivities. As Dawn growing up in, I guess, a somewhat pampered life. I think for me that would make more sense as to why.
Oh, because her mom was a celebrity, so maybe
Yeah,
she kind of had that upbringing.
yeah. So I think that makes. I guess let's make that head canon just so that's funny
Sure.
because yeah, it would make sense as to why Dawn wanted to take her trunk full of clothes, accessories, why she would have rather slept in the Pokemon Center than
Yeah.
camping.
I would compare it to May though, where like everyone in Petalburg City and people who like follow contests know who she is because of her dad being the gym leader. But
Okay.
I think no one really seems to say, "Oh, you're Johanna's daughter." unless
Yeah,
they
that's true.
knew her mom at some level in the past.
That's true. And
So,
also with the whole potato thing, I thought, oh, Krogank's about to show Brock how to chop up a potato.
oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so maybe they're gonna do some bonding, and Krogank's gonna be secretly a really good chef. Yeah, I was waiting for him to do that, but we saw Krogank just be like, oh, here's your potato, and just kick it back.
Yeah, I'm very curious what everyone else is going to think of Croagunk as we move along,
Yeah,
but um, yeah, it's a weird relationship that they got going there. But
yeah.
and he gets a moment later in this episode, so
Yes.
let's get there slowly. But going back to the road where Jessie almost ran over Pikachu, she gets mad at Pikachu for not looking at both sides before crossing. But I mean, Pikachu just didn't know there was a road there to begin with. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, take it. You can take it easy on him. But that's where Dawn learns from Brock that there's multiple Officer Jennies.
Yes, because we've all
And
been there as well.
yes, we've talked about that before. There's multiple
Yeah.
Nurse Joys, but she's still
Yeah.
learning that. And
And
then
again, this goes back to the whole me saying that at one point Diamond and Pearl was somebody's first anime. That
yes,
was, but yeah. So that was also like, and with Nurse Joy as well, something that they will always establish because they're aware that maybe this is somebody's first anime. That's always a good thing for them to establish.
yeah. I don't remember how they do it in future seasons when Brock isn't around anymore, but I'm always kind of happy to see Brock pull out the picture that shows
Yeah.
all of the Jennies and all the Joys.
Yeah, and they're like, Jenny's like, "Oh, that was at the festival. Like, were you there?" And he's like, "No, but I wish I was."
Yeah, like wait,
He's like,
how do
"Where
you
did you
have
get
this
this picture?"
picture?
Yeah, where did? Yeah,
But
maybe
yeah, he just
the telephone the telephone screens have printers in them or something.
I guess like he just goes to the region and is like one picture of the last Jenny festival place.
Yeah, I think this is probably the last they do to acknowledge this, right? Because
Yes,
Iris and what's that guy's name? I don't know his name. The one with the
silence.
Pansemian. Yeah, they probably know about the Jennies and the Joys, right?
Yes, I think so. But Jenny actually pulls out her own picture of three
Mm-hmm.
suspects who pose to the camera while robbing
Yeah.
machine parts from some nearby warehouse. And she pulls it to ask Ash and friends if they know these
Yep.
people or they've seen them because
To
they're
us, the
thieves.
viewers, yeah.
And she's
To
after
us,
them.
the viewers, it's obvious who it is. But to Ash and Brock and Dawn, what's their answer? Nope, we've never seen them before.
Yeah, it's rough.
And we kind of get a hint of Dawn's naivete as her kind of being upset that she hasn't caught her first Pokemon yet. And Brock kind of having to tell her, like, hey, be patient, you'll get your time.
Yeah, and she is very upset and like slams the
Yeah,
table at lunch.
yeah.
Mostly
And
because she says that she wants her new Pokemon for the contest because they're
mhm,
almost in Jubilife City where the contest is
yeah.
going to take place.
Yeah, and we also have to remember, she's 10 years old, so it's typical behavior for a 10-year-old to kind of get impatient and anxious as well. And I kind of like that because it just shows how passionate she is about being a coordinator, that she wants to add more to her team so that she can show the world what she's capable of. And I watched the episodes leading up to this. I loved that whole instinct that she had about Piplup doing bubble beam in a circle. The
Hmm.
fact that she thought of that and wanted the bubble beams to kind of explode like fireworks, I thought that was really cool and shows that she's always thinking about. It just shows how much she loves coordinating, and it's not just her trying to fill her mom's shoes. It's not just her saying, "Oh, my mom is a coordinator, so I guess I have to be a coordinator."
Yeah, definitely. She has her passion. She's excited about it, and she wants to do as much as she can to be successful at it. So that's why she's like, I really want this Buneary. So when they finally catch up to it, Ash is like, well, if that's how you feel, go for it. He's like, I can see you're really into this and you really want this to get to your goal. So I'm gonna let you have the first shot.
Her second attempt, wasn't it? Because I think I remember he said whoever catches it first is the person that can't complain. Or was that during that first battle? He was
Yes,
like,
I think
"Yeah,
that's
you know
what he
what?
says.
Go for it."
Yeah, and
Oh,
and
okay.
then he just changes his mind. It's like, oh, all right,
Yeah,
you go for it.
yeah, and
Uh,
that just shows how good of a friend Ash is as well. It's like, I really like this Pokemon, but you know what? I can see you're determined to get it, so I'll let you get it.
but in this case, Dawn takes the lead and has Piplup attack Buneary, but Buneary keeps dodging and is able to confuse Piplup using Dizzy Punch.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time you can see that it's kind of flirting with Pikachu, like it's kind of covering its face
Yeah,
because it's
it's like,
shy.
"Oh, don't look at me." But like, "Are you looking at me?" Like, "No, don't look at me." Yeah, that
Yeah,
was pretty
and it's
cute.
really funny and cute. And then that's how she takes out Piplup pretty quickly, actually, using Bounce and Dizzy Punch. Dawn is really sad, actually. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Oh, I can't do anything right. Like, I can't even catch this Pokemon." And Piplup's knocked
Yeah,
out, so she can't really do anything else. So she says, "All right, Ash, it's your turn," because she's a
yeah.
Pokemon to battle with.
Yeah, I
Because
think it was to show, her inexperience as a trainer because this is, her first journey. We don't really know how long it's been since she's left home, but you could see the panic that she was going through when Piplup got confused. She was like, "Oh no, what do I do? Like, oh, did I
right.
just lose?" And Brock having to tell her, like, "Hey, just put him in the Pokeball and then bring him out. He'll be fine." But she didn't get a chance to do that because she,
Yeah, and then Piplup got knocked out by
yeah,
Buneary's bounce. So after that, Ash steps in and sends in Pikachu, but Buneary starts acting super shy around it, and they're like, "What's happening?" And Dawn and Brock kind of explain
yeah,
to Ash, who's still
like, oh,
clueless about love,
yeah.
that Buneary seems to have a crush on Pikachu. And he's like, "What? That's awkward."
Yeah, like his question is like, "Well, what do we do about this now?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ash tries to throw a Pokeball at it, but Buneary unleashes an ice beam and freezes everyone except Starly and
Yeah, Starly was quick enough to leave.
yeah, Starly was able to get away and Pikachu, who's fine. But I want to call out this little moment that I saw, which was Starly was resting on Turtwig's head.
Oh yes, yes. Thank you
That
for
was
reminding me. I was like,
adorable.
yeah, I forgot to write that in my notes. So the minute I saw it, I was like, oh man, I need to bring this up because that was such.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wonder how sturdy Turtwig's leaves are for
Yeah, I'm
Starly.
like, that's some stiff
Yeah,
like um tree you gotta grow there,
yeah.
Turtwig.
And also, I liked the whole sequence of Buneary shooting the ice beams at Piplup's bubble beams,
Bubbles.
and
Mhm.
the way that they dispersed like little crystals. I wonder if that was foreshadowing for what Dawn might
Mm,
try to do with Buneary, because I thought that was really cool, and I
yes.
wish they would have picked like, a focus on that on Dawn, like a close up, be like, oh wow, this ice.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
also interested because I thought they were going to mention an observation about that, but they
Mhm.
didn't.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool part. How they
Yeah,
dispersed. Yeah,
right.
Starly on a Turtwig. That was pretty cute. That was pretty cool. And props to Starly for being able to pick up that ice beam was gonna come and be like, nope, I'm out of here.
Like, all right, bye, Turtwig.
Yeah.
So it flies off, and Buneary doesn't know this, but doesn't really care because it just wants Pikachu, so it grabs it and starts running away with it until it's an
Mhm.
area where it's alone with Pikachu. But Pikachu is mad, and Buneary is
Yeah.
shocked. Like,
Oh yeah.
Pikachu's like, what did you do? Like, you just froze my trainer and his friends and kidnapped me. And Pikachu's just
Yeah.
like, to get out here. But Buneary is also really sad, so it starts crying.
Yeah.
And then Starly, who's flying around looking for Pikachu, lands next to them and just like looks at Buneary crying, and then looks over at
Yeah.
Pikachu.
There's a
And it's
little
like,
interaction like, what did you do? Yeah.
yeah,
That was
it's
funny.
it's a great moment. But I think Pikachu explains like, no, it's just go find everyone.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was when Team Rocket comes. He
Yes.
tells Charlie. Which I thought was really cool the way that they had Pikachu communicated like that. It wasn't just like, oh, Pika. It was more like a sentence where you could
Hmm.
pick up that Pikachu was like, hey, go get the trainers.
Yep. It was actually like speaking to him, and you didn't really
Yeah.
need to understand what it was saying
Yeah,
to get the
I
message.
like when they do that. It's like you don't really know what did they say, but you don't need to know because it's pretty much given to you what they say.
Mhm. You can understand it for sure.
Yeah.
So from there, Team Rocket shows up and gets Buneary, and they're in this complicated robot thing where it's set up so that if Pikachu tries to Thunderbolt them, the electricity goes to Buneary's capsule / cage,
Hmm.
and it shocks Buneary, so it can't use any electrical attacks. And
Yeah.
now Pikachu's at a stalemate. So I like negotiates with Meow to say like, oh, like take me, but let Buneary go.
Hmm.
And they do take Pikachu, but they don't. They like clearly were lying, and they're like, no, we're not letting go of Buneary. We want this one too.
Yeah.
But then back at where Ash is with friends, Croagunk was taking its time at the camp and just shows up, sees
Yeah.
that they're all frozen still, and uses, I think, a brick break or a poison jab to clear the ice and just like breaks it
Yeah.
all apart so that they can get free from that. Which is funny. I really like that moment.
Who do you think Team Rocket had in mind to catch in order to negotiate with Pikachu? I feel like probably they saw that it was the Buneary and they're like, oh, we'll just take Buneary instead. I
Yeah,
think
I think
the
it was Buneary because they were
this happened
spying
to be
on
right.
them
Yeah.
before,
Uh-huh.
and that's how they got their plan together.
Yeah. Because it didn't look like it was big, right? The chamber, the
No,
pod.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
would most only fit small Pokemon.
yeah. So it wouldn't have been Ash that would have been targeted. Probably would have been maybe Piplup, maybe another one of Ash's Pokemon.
Yeah, because that's a good point. They were the ones who were stealing the machine equipment to build this new robot. So then everyone shows up along with Officer Jenny because they caught up to where Pikachu is captured alongside Buneary, and then they they pull a Transformers and make the top half start flying away and
Yeah.
leave like the wheel part of the machine on the ground. Pikachu's able to get out using Iron Tail, freeze Buneary, and then Ash tells Pikachu to use Thunderbolt on one of the engines, and Dawn tells Buneary to use Ice Beam on the other engine.
Yes. And we see that instant bond
Yeah,
that'll play
yeah, I'm
in
like,
later.
oh wow, Dawn just had
Yeah.
the instinct to tell Buneary to do this,
That'll
apparently.
that'll play in later as we go on ahead.
Right, and they then both jump from the machine, and I think Ash catches Pikachu, and Dawn catches Buneary, and they have a little moment where like, ah, you're safe, it got you.
Yeah. And
And then
Buneary gives
Team
a
Rocket crashes next to them.
yeah, and Buneary gives Dawn a little cuddle as a thank you.
Oh well, before this, Jenny is like, oh, looks at Team Rocket and is like, "Yep, that's the thieves." So
Yeah, like
apparently,
apparently you know who they are, but couldn't tell in the picture.
like she's able to recognize them from the picture, but Ash, Brock, and Dawn aren't. So maybe it's just that they're kids or something. But like they've known Team Rocket for so long. I feel like they should recognize him, but
Yeah.
apparently she can do it because she's like a police officer, so she has a keen eye for stuff and like
Yeah,
people.
that's her
So
ability. Right.
that's my hypothesis for why she's able to recognize him just from the picture. And then Team Rocket doesn't blast off actually.
That's true. Also, this Jenny didn't have a Growlithe.
Yeah, I was expecting her to pull out a Growlithe or some
Yeah.
Pokemon.
So because Hoenn had a Manectric, right? There was a Jenny with a Manectric.
I
Hoenn.
don't remember. I think it's always just been like Growlithe or sometimes Arcanine.
I think I remember there being a Jenny with a Manectric.
Yeah, there's some later on where you see them have a variety of Pokemon that's not just Growlithe and other dogs. But here her only thing that she has is her motorcycle, which she uses to chase after Team Rocket, who's running away on foot and is moving at the same speed as her on her motorcycle, which I was like, all right.
Yeah, I wonder where the balloon was this time.
Yeah. I guess that they were focused on the machine, so they didn't have time to prepare that. But
Also,
I,
can I assume that James still has his Cacnea and Chimecho?
he does have Cacnea, and he has Mime Junior, but no
Yes, he has
Chimecho.
Mime Junior. Okay, so he has Carnivine, Cacnea, and Mime Junior.
Yeah.
But
And
I've
Jesse has Wobbuffet, the Viper, and Dustox.
but so far he's only used Carnivine, right?
Yes, Mime Junior. He
Mm.
usually kind of treats like his little baby, so he
Yeah,
doesn't
Mime
really
Junior
use
is
it
more
as
the
much.
just as a comic relief.
Yeah, or just a
Oh,
little
that's
supporting
interesting.
character,
Yeah.
which is cute. I really like Mime Junior, but I
Yeah.
wish he was used more. So I thought that was kind of a refreshing end to the episode, where they don't go blasting off, but like a police officer is actually here trying to arrest them,
Yeah.
which is funny. But then we get to the climax of the episode, which is Dawn talking to Buneary and saying, "Hey, do you want to come with us?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." But Dawn saying, like, "Hey, you're a Pokemon. I'm a trainer. I think I should actually battle you so we can do this
Mhm.
like a proper catch." And I was like, like at this point, we've already seen this happen with Turtwig, where they are already friends or at least friendly, so they should just go in the Pokeball. But I guess Dawn is like, I want to do my first catch like an
Yeah.
actual trainer
Yeah,
would.
with this being her first official catch, I think that's why they
Yes.
wanted to give that emphasis of her battling. And this is when Ash goes like, "Yeah, I can see that you really want this Buneary, so I'll
Mhm.
let you give it a shot."
Yeah, Dawn's like, hey, can I try? And like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, she's like,
And
"Yeah, go for it."
this is actually the scene that is showed at the very beginning of the episode before the opening.
Oh, it was
And
this one?
yes, I was trying to figure it
Oh
out. I was like,
man,
is this one or is it the other
yeah,
battle?
yeah, and
But
it slipped my mind because I thought it was the first battle.
yes, I thought
Then
so too. But I think there's a
yeah,
few changes in there.
and I had completely forgot about that because I guess you didn't mention it or I didn't really hear it as well. Yeah, that okay.
This is okay. This is something I noticed now moving forward, starting with this episode. They open the episodes now with a cold open, which is
Yeah,
where they focus or they bring out a scene from later on in the episodes chronologically and just kind of do like a preview of it at the beginning before the opening theme song and all that.
yeah, and this one kind of felt rushed when they did the opening.
I was like, why? This is
Yeah.
confusing because, like, you just heard us talk about, we were unsure at first, like, which battle it's pulling from
Uh,
because the same battle kind of happens twice in this episode. And I'm curious if this is partially a tactic to pad out their episodes a bit more.
mm, probably yeah, because the sub starts off the same way as well, but
Okay.
the opening fit a little more better. It didn't feel as rushed as when this
Hmm.
opening because it just felt like Like they showed the thing and then boom, it comes out and it's like, whoa, that didn't feel right. And the sub, I think they gave it a bit more of a breathing room. Felt like it fit in there.
Same scene?
Yeah, the same scene. For some
Oh,
reason, this in the sub it felt more natural. The opening scene,
interesting.
the opening song rather than dub. Whereas in the dub, I felt like, oh whoa, that felt weird.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna ask people moving forward if how they feel about the openings or the cold openings and if they feel natural. This one didn't really because it pulls from like almost the end of the episode and it wasn't like a cliffhanger. It was kind of just like here's an action moment that we're gonna show you.
And they didn't have the narrator as well. I think
Yes.
that's what kind of made it disconnect.
I wonder, I'm curious. I'm gonna go look into this later if I remember. If for some reason the narrator's just not here, if there's like a production thing or some other reason for
Uh,
them, like, oh, we're gonna do a cold open because we don't have a narrator or something.
I think they just decided to do that because in episode 2, when you see, Dawn running down the hill, the narrator is there describing what's going on. Whereas in the sub, there's no narrator. It's just
Hmm.
music. They do have a narrator in the sub, but in that episode there was no narrator and there wasn't one at the beginning of this episode either.
And for this episode, it ends with Dawn being a little smarter in how she tries to battle the Buneary and is able to hit it with a peck. And that's really the only move she hits it with. Like all the other ones kind of just miss. But
Yeah.
there is a Kilo moment where after Piplup uses peck, it turns its head back at Dawn and is like, "Is that good enough?" Is kind of like the
Yeah.
intent I got from that, and that's
Yeah,
when
like
Dawn
did I do
goes,
it?
"Oh." Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, did I do it? Is that good? And
It's
then
it's funny, right? Because in the second episode, Piplup is like the one telling her like, "No, throw the Pokeball now, throw it now, throw it now."
yeah,
Whereas in this one, he's like, "Oh, did we do it?"
yeah, it's a little more like teamwork, which is
Yeah.
cute. So Buneary joins the team, and that is the first Pokemon that we get for Dawn. So, how do you feel about this episode coming after the last one with Croagunk joining the party?
I think in terms of importance, maybe Dawn should have caught Buneary before Rock got Croagunk.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
think,
was
yeah.
thinking. Like, to me, the order between these two doesn't matter, but I I would have enjoyed it a little more to see Dawn catch Buneary first because
Mhm.
it would be someone she would be then the first person in the party other than Ash to catch a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And this catch felt a little more traditional rather than Brock's catch where Krogan kind of just decides to come even though they barely know each other.
And I guess you could kind of write it off as not being as important as the other two. That's why they gave him that kind of catch, like a bonk on the head, and
Yeah,
Croagunk was there. But I
very
do,
unceremonious.
yeah, I do like that they decided to take a total of 9 episodes before Dawn caught her first Pokemon.
Yeah, it was a very slow burn. And the only thing I could see where they wanted to really put Krogan first is because they wanted Krogan to kind of set up this episode with the potato and then freeing Ash and his friends with the poison jab. And B, they wanted it to be the very last episode before they get to Jubilife. So to kind of emphasize Dawn's desperation to catch Pokemon.
Yeah, mm, see
Like those are it, and they
now.
are great reasons, but they're the only ones I can really think of.
Yeah, but now I kind of feel like she definitely should have been first before Brock because they were in a rush to get to Jubilife City. But I don't know how many episodes it will take for her first competition. But
Yeah, that
hopefully they.
actually does happen in about 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah, I think about 2
Oh,
episodes.
okay,
So
okay,
it's actually
that's good then.
really close.
Yeah, that's good. So that gives her time for us as the viewer to get to know and see her relationship established with her Buneary.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I think we're gonna find out in the next episode of Sights on Sinnoh what actually kind of happens in the lead up to her first contest. But before we close out this episode, what would you give a rating to Setting the World on Its Buneary, which is episode 9 of Diamond and Pearl?
I'll give it a 7. I really enjoyed this episode. I loved the little hint at what Buneary can do in terms of when it's Buneary's time to compete. Very excited to see what Dawn decides to do with Buneary's moveset.
Yeah, I like seeing that Buneary has an interesting move, which is Ice Beam, a move that it couldn't learn otherwise without like a TM, and or at least in the games. So that kind of adds some interesting dynamics to what Buneary can do.
Yeah.
I would also give this episode a 7 because I enjoy more of the kind of callback and establishing things with Officer Jenny and Dawn and her learning about them being multiple and a little maybe
Mhm.
world building subtly through Team Rocket saying that they're or through the reveal that Team Rocket has been stealing these machine parts and maybe that's how they make all their machines usually. So I think it's good. The parts where it suffers is kind of the pacing and the fact that the animations for some of the battle between Piplup and Buneary feel pretty recycled. So that part could be a little better on. But overall, it's kind of a cute introduction to Buneary joining the party.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting to see how they interact, Pikachu and Buneary going forward. And I'm also curious as to one of our other co-hosts, Karina,
Mm-hmm.
reaction to Buneary because it was like I said, it's they kind of show it in the opening. So I'm very curious as to see or hear from her reaction as to what she thought when she saw Buneary in the opening and what she thinks of Buneary
Yes,
as a member of Dom's team.
I believe Karina will be on episode 7 of Sights on Sinnoh to talk about Buneary in action and all that contest jazz when we get there. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear that. But yeah, if you want to stick around and hear that, feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube. Here, Sights on Sinnoh, where we're talking about the Diamond and Pearl anime, a few episodes at a time. About once a week is what our schedule looks like. So feel free to check that out and let us know in the description below what you think about this episode, or this series of episodes where we have Croagunk and Buneary join the team. Once again, this has been Sights on Sinnoh, episode 5. My name is Will.
Now, Manny,
And thanks for listening. This has been awesome. Thank you for joining, Manny.
gotta catch 'em all.
Yep. 2 catches for you in this week's episode. How do you feel about that?
Oh man, this is definitely good. Um, I was kind of jealous of everybody else who got 2 episodes. I was like, but I was honored to be the first episode as well, and it was I say it's fate that you chose the episode with both Krogunk and Scizor for me. So
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to the other episodes that um will be in and just hearing everybody's their own perspective of the episode.
Yeah, totally. And I'm also curious to see later on, since I don't remember, if this is the only case where we have 2 episodes back to back of Pokemon joining the party, or if we have another case later on where we have 2 Pokemon get captured and join our team. But we'll have to see what happens.
Definitely looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening once again. It has been Sights on Sinnoh, and we'll catch you next week. Until then, peace.